G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website and YouTube channel Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, I've been reporting over a number of years the water buyback fraud going on with the federal government, where they're paying millions of dollars to buy back water that doesn't exist. And someone's in jail awaiting sentencing, and they're related to federal national leader David Littleproud, and I've just published an article on it. And I'll read you out that article, and I'll also play a couple of videos during the course of that article. And the article was published on the 29th of June 2025, and it's titled National Leader David Littleproud's relative John Norman jailed over $20 million water fraud. And the article starts off, David Littleproud's former wife's cousin, John Norman, is in jail awaiting sentencing over a $20 million water fraud scam he pleaded guilty to. Sometimes the wheels of justice turn slowly, especially if you have plenty of cash. And I published an article in April 2019 titled Water Minister David Littleproud's family linked to $20 million Murray-Darling Basin fraud, yet he is still Water Minister, which starts off, the current Federal Minister for Agriculture and Water Resources, David Littleproud, has direct family links to a $20 million Murray-Darling Basin fraud which has resulted in police charges in Queensland. David Littleproud's wife's cousin, John Norman, is a kingpin of the alleged $20 million fraud and was charged in August 2018 after police raided his farm in October 2017. Yet David Littleproud is the one Prime Minister Scott Morrison and his government has overseen complaints and an investigation into a separate $80 million Murray-Darling Basin Watergate scandal involving federal MPs Barnaby Joyce and Angus Taylor. This is shaping up as one of the biggest fraud scandals the country has seen. There's a federal $13 billion Murray-Darling Basin plan, which put simply covers rivers, water flow in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia. It says on the Murray-Darling Basin Authority website, the basin plan aims to ensure the water resources of the basin are shared between all water users in a sustainable way. It is about striking a balance and maintaining a healthy and productive system to sustainably support industries and communities. Buying back water rights and or giving grants to farmers for water efficiency projects are two ways the Murray-Darling Basin Plan is meant to achieve its stated goals. But water buybacks and the water efficiency projects have been left wide open to fraud. David Littleproud's wife's cousin, John Norman, claimed millions of dollars for water efficiency projects on his properties, and he is alleged to have actually used the money for farming instead. While $80 million fraud involving federal MPs Angus Taylor and Barnaby Joyce involves a water buyback fraud at inflated prices, the money being funneled into an overseas company based in the Cayman Islands that was originally set up by Angus Taylor. There are still many unanswered questions, and both Barnaby Joyce and Angus Taylor are refusing to answer those questions. The Grain Central website reported on the 26th of June 2025, former Tuba cotton grower John Douglas Norman is in custody awaiting sentencing after pleading guilty to 6 counts of fraud linked to a federal government-funded irrigation program. Mr Norman's case was listed for sentencing in the Brisbane District Court on Tuesday before Judge Porter KC. The matter was partly heard before being adjourned till July 16 for final sentencing. Mr Norman's bail was not enlarged and he was remanded in custody. His case was originally set down for sentencing on June 10, but was deferred with the agreement of all parties. Mr Norman may face a prison sentence after pleading guilty to 6 counts of fraud, charges that carry custodial terms, for dishonestly inducing the delivery of property valued at over $30,000, committed between 2011 and 2016. His co-accused, Stephen Evans, had pleaded guilty to 4 similar fraud charges in April 2021. These also relate to offences between 2011 and 2016. Mr Evans received a head sentence of 4 years and 6 months, suspended for an operational period of 4 years and 5 months, and served 9 months in prison. David Littleproud claimed he had no involvement in John Norman's $20 million fraud, which may be true. But given we know Littleproud was up to his neck as Federal Minister for Agriculture and Water Resources and covering up the Barnaby Joyce Angus Taylor $80 million fraud, it is fairly trivial for Littleproud to cry about being falsely accused in helping John Norman steal millions. Nor can Littleproud be trusted when he says he had no involvement helping John Norman, given how dishonest Littleproud is. In October 2019, David Littleproud used his appearance on Q&A to play the victim, and I published an article titled Water Minister David Littleproud uses Q&A to attack social media for exposing his links to a $20 million water fraud, which starts off, Water Minister David Littleproud used his appearance on Monday's Q&A program, 28th of the 10th, 2019, to attack an unnamed person and Twitter and Facebook users for accusing him of having links to his wife's cousin's $20 million water fraud and theft. While Littleproud didn't name me or this website, it is clearly a reference to myself and an article I published on the 28th of April titled Water Minister David Littleproud's family linked to $20 million Murray-Darling Basin fraud, yet he is still Water Minister, which has been shared 88,000 times on Facebook and thousands more on Twitter, as per the below example that was tweeted in September and was shared 461 times. Now, the video I'm about to show you is from October 2019, which shows a Q&A audience member asking David Littleproud a question. David Littleproud ducking and weaving, trying to avoid answering the question and divert attention away from the question.
So my question is, it's my understanding when you become a politician, this is particularly addressed to Minister Littleproud, you need to disclose all sorts of things such as citizenship and financial interests. So why is it that politicians do not need to disclose if they, or any related entities, such as in-laws, control or own water entitlements or licences?
Minister.
Sadly, Bruce, I'm not married any longer. My marriage broke down some time ago. My in-laws, my father-in-law and mother-in-law, were dry land wheat and sheep growers. They were not irrigators. And sadly, we get a lot of people that hide behind the curtain of Twitter and Facebook, get on a keyboard and say a lot of things that aren't right. Quite hurtful. You know what? Have the courage to come forward and put your name to it. I've put in place an Inspector General that will bring integrity. If you are so confident, go and ring McKilty and raise any allegations you have with him. I find it quite distasteful that you would raise something that has no foundation, that's predicated by someone that's too weak to come out from behind Twitter and tear away at my family that sadly has had a breakup. But look, if that floats your boat, mate, good luck to you.
Minister, can I just ask you though about the issue rather than the personal component, which I'm not entirely clear on, but should people in politics have to declare an interest in this sort of thing?
Totally.
So why don't they?
Well, what's in question, what he's trying to raise from behind Twitter, is that someone has tried to say that my ex-wife's second cousin, once removed, who's now facing charges over the misuse of a Queensland state government program, somehow has a link to me. It was created before I was in Parliament and before I was Water Minister. So you want to dance? Let's put it out on the table. Let's go hand in hand to Mick Kilty. But you know what? Let's be mature. I want to lead the nation. I want to make sure that we get this right. But if we want to get into this petty, grubby situation, good luck to you.
And I think we should say that, Ben, you're a lawyer involved in a class action at the moment. I think it's best if we leave the personal bit out of this. But it is a reasonable question, isn't it? Why shouldn't politicians declare?
And they should, and I have nothing to declare. But
Now, David Littleproud had to be asked a third time before he said he had nothing to declare. But what about other politicians such as Barnaby Joyce and Angus Taylor? And do any of the large corporates who own water licences donate to the National or Liberal parties? Now, I'll play you another video, and it's from February 2018, in which David Littleproud is getting very upset and refusing to answer questions when asked a question by federal MP Rebecca Sharkey in relation to overpriced water buyback. Which specific buyback, I don't know, but it could be the $80 million fraud involving Joyce and Taylor. And I'll play you that video now.
The member for Mayo.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Agriculture and Water Resources. Thanks to Senator Patrick's order for production of documents, we now know that the federal government paid more than twice the market price for water buybacks in the Warrego catchment, paying $1,600 a megalitre versus payment of around $720 a megalitre for similar licences in the same region. Can the Minister explain why more than twice the commercial rate was paid and why the independent valuations were redacted? And is the Minister aware of any relationships or friendships or conflicts of interest between the beneficiaries of the water buybacks in the Warrego catchment and the former or current Minister for Water and Resources?
The Minister for Agriculture has the call.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I thank the honourable member for her question, because the Warrego in fact lies in my electorate, the Warrego River, and I do know the proponents, as you would in a small community of Cunnamulla of only 800 people. It is quite obvious about that. Let me say around the pricing that was put in place, it is always at arm's length of the government. In fact, I was not even the minister when those negotiations took place. So if you're here to try and character assassinate me in some cheap attempt to score some political points in South Australia where you destroyed the Bateson plan along with the Labor Party, this was their plan, this was their review. They are destroying the livelihoods of 2 million Australians up and down the base.
Member for Isaacs has been warned.
Because they are worried about Jay Weatherall and Nick Xenophon getting a vote. That's what it comes down to, pure politics. Pure politics by the Australian Labor Party, and now Nick Xenophon and the next team. Nothing more than a cold, callous political machine both of you have turned into. You are destroying the livelihoods of those people, and you should hang your heads in shame.
Has the minister's concluded his answer?
Now, in both those videos, you see David Littleproud ducking and weaving. But the bottom line with David Littleproud, he was up to his neck in covering up the $80 million Barnaby Joyce fraud. And I'll finish off my article by saying how much money has been stolen from the federal $13 billion Murray-Darling Basin plan. No one knows. And with the fake federal National Anti-Corruption Commission, we'll never find out. But above alone is $100 million. $80 million stolen by Barnaby Joyce and Angus Taylor, and $20 million stolen by David Littleproud's relative, John Norman. At least John Norman is in jail awaiting sentencing, so not everyone has gotten away scot-free. You make sure you visit my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia, and click on that article. There's a lot of links to other articles within that article and other videos you'll be able to watch with a lot more information, a lot more background information to the water frauds that have been going on over a number of years. And please do your bit and help shine a light on corruption and share this video on social media. And Kangaroo Court of Australia's independent media. I publish a website and a YouTube channel, and I'm 100% crowdfunded from viewers like yourself, so please support my Patreon account or PayPal account. You can donate any amount. It all helps out in a big way. You can do one-off donations or monthly donations. And if you go to my website and click on the donations page, there's other donation options there. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.